few people here. Has everyone who wants to make a public comment tonight? And then anybody else?
If you plan on speaking, maybe just come up now and sign in, because otherwise you have to sign in. Okay,
Need to sign in on here, just sign when you're speaking.
okay, thank you.
I can have my silly pen back.
Oh. For anyone else who has signed up to speak, you'll have 3 minutes and I'll let you know. Okay, but that's the one that you're there to talk. Got it. Yes, we need to ask them if you do everything with this camera. I'm gonna contact you with any services and they're asking you to buy anything. We'll ask her if she could put the project there. I'm just using. Oh, you're saying you own two. Oh. But they're four and nine.
Fine, and I speak the extra question.
You know, I know me too, right? Me too.
I should have bought that $1,000 bottle. Was gonna know time. So they can't even go that far. It's condo, all that. Like we're taking it off the bank. That on it.
I thought that Thursday, Wednesday.
Yeah, no, I started about the show.
That's
Okay.
last contract. Really.
So we can have that party. They should just have it just for staff.
Well, I think. Sure, I do. We got to lay on. We were certainly.
Good evening. I think a lot of you have already signed in. But before you speak, you have to sign in. All right? And I'll turn it over to her. Go ahead.
All right, we're going to start with public comment. We have Mr. Joe Hardman. Oh, you're the applicant. Oh, sorry. Yes, Beth. Beth is going to do y'all's oath of office real quick.
I'll go slow. All right, if everyone can raise their right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I am duly qualified according to the Constitution of this state to exercise the duties of the office to which I have been appointed, and that I will, to the best of my ability, discharge the duties thereof, and preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of this state and of the United States. So help me God.
All right, folks, so we're going to start with public comment tonight. Alexis, I'm assuming that you signed in for your project. Okay, and Miss Senior Sinor, you're okay. So we'll go to Mr. Ben Doyle, who is here to comment on 902 West 2nd North Street. If you could come up to the podium. And each person making public comment will have 3 minutes, and I will let you know when your time has elapsed. And if you could just introduce yourself.
Good afternoon. My name is Benjamin Doyle, and I've been in Somerville on Boone Street, 128. That's the only home surrounding the whole property that you tearing down the trees and stuff. And I have an issue with all the trees that they take down. They then took the main tree down. That's a pine tree about 35 feet from my house. And it's way up there. And it's a danger because it's leaning toward me. It's leaning on the other side. And that's the tree that they should take down. Matter of fact, I was at Town Hall more one time trying to get this tree taken down. And I want to know who will be responsible for leaving it there. Because the tree is on half of the guy who's building and half on my property. And I want to know who wants to save it and who want to be responsible for it. Like I said, I was at town hall twice, and this tree, pine tree, is a danger because my electrical wire and stuff run through my yard, and the limbs and everything is over that tree, over that power line. And I want to know who loved this tree so much that one tree, when they take hundreds of trees from around me and can't move that tree. But before it's all over, I'd like to know who going to be responsible for that tree. That's all I have to say.
Sir, oh, you,
Request for a setback and then a special exception request for a business use in a residential. Did you have comments about either of those projects? That's what this hearing is.
Well, another thing I have problem with, I want to know how the drainage going to be run.
How issues that come up to us in the planning and engineering department. We handle those items, so we can talk to you about the tree and drainage concerns. But this public hearing is just in regards to items that are up for.
Okay. All right. Okay, thank you.
Ms. Brown, here's the. I'm coming.
Good evening. My name is Elfrida Brown, and I live at 904 West Second North Street. I was informed that they are building 4 townhouses right next to my house, up on my house. I was in Somerville my whole life. Now they got a project going, I know this is out of line, but they got a project across the street, right where the dogs live at. They be working. I'm half sick. It's a lot of elderly people up there. You cannot get no rest. Right next door to me, when them people come, I don't know what I'm gonna do. All that noise going, it's not in your neighborhood. It's only in the Black neighborhood. All this building is going. Something needs to be done. You know, I don't bother nobody. All this noise in the neighborhood, it needs to stop. What if they were building all this stuff around y'all in your neighborhood right next door to y'all? Would y'all like it? Can I hear a yes or no? Would y'all like it? I don't think so. Tell the truth. You can't rest. They be out there before 7 o'clock in the morning. You cannot rest in your own house. That's across the street where they're building now and cleaning up. When they start next door to me, hey, what I'm gonna do with 4 condos, you know? Y'all need to think about the people in Somerville. It's not just the rich people. It's not, think about the poor people, what we are going through. Give us a break. We don't need all this building, you know? Somerville is a nice place to live. It's not now. Our community is a mess. And the apartments that they already built up there look like a barn. They don't even fit in our community. Y'all need to come and see how they're building up our neighborhood and the trash that they are putting in. Y'all, please stop all this building. about, I know, y'all, people sell their property and the people who buy it, they got rights, yeah, to build, but we got rights too. We've been there first, you know, give us our break. It's too much building. The noise is just terrible, terrible, but thank you and y'all have a good day.
All right, we have Mr. Pringle of 934 and 935 West Second North Street to talk about 902 West Second North Street.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Elbert Pringle, and I own 2 properties up there. It's called Bronzeville up the track. And it's an old, and I've been born and raised up there. And the weed it's it's getting bad because they're just building and building and building. And there's a bunch of old people live out there and stuff. And the more you build, the more our taxes going up. And some people won't be able to afford it because they're old and they, fixed income and stuff. And I feel bad for them and stuff, but I don't think that building them apartments down the road and building that other thing down the road will make the taxes go up high, and some people won't be able to afford it because taxes will go up. Anytime you're building next things in the area, taxes are going to jump up. And I just feel sad for the older people because, like I said, I'm a little fella. I know these people, and it can be hard. It'd be hard for them to pay their taxes, and that's what I'm worrying about. The older people that not to got a fixed income and stuff, and it called up the track, Brownsville community, and it changes so much. I mean, I turned 60 years old last Saturday, and since then, it done changed a whole bunch. That's all I got to say.
All right, and our last public speaker is Mr. Howard from 104 Duncan Lane to talk about 902 West Second North Street.
Yes, my name is Jack Howard. I did not intend to come and say anything tonight. I was here really just to listen, but there's been hearsay because I don't know this official that there is a 4-family complex that's being brought there, and this property is right next door to my property, right on the opposite side of where Miss Brown lives at, and my concern is, I'm okay with a single family home being over there, and I welcome that. But to add 4 complexes there, I think it's not going to be good. It's going to take away my privacy, and it's just we don't have the area, the streets, and everything for that. It's only 3/4 of an acre lot. So to put 4 people, 4 different families in that one little area, I just don't like it. And also it's because it's right next to me, taking away my privacy. Thank you.
All right, we don't have anyone else for public comment. Ma'am, you need to sign in? If you're gonna speak, you do need to sign in.
You're welcome. Good afternoon. My name is Virginia Boone. I live at 908 West Second North Street, but I'm 82 years old and I was born and raised in that community. My parents' original home is still there at 813 West Second North Street. Progress is going to come, but we look for progress that is going to improve the enhancement of not only our pockets, but the community and the people who are living there. The property that I live on is over 200 years, and it has been in my husband's family the entire 200 years. So you see, we do come back to our homestead and we do care. I know that the zoning has a lot to do with it, but when you're bringing people in that are not, maybe the property will be sold, townhouses will be sold, and people will become a permanent resident, or they would do something. But if you're just building or rental property like they did down the street from us, there are 8 apartments. There are only 4 meters here, electrical meters to it. So 2 apartments are sharing the same electrical bill. They share the same water bill. So how are you enhancing the community like that? I haven't seen any improvements on our sewer line or our water lines from the growth of the community from the time I was a child. We know early morning when people are up getting ready for work. I'm retired now, but late afternoon, you're coming in, you're cooking and you're washing, the water pressure is low. And we don't have, the only thing we got in that community when we were annexed into the town were lights, a few lights, nothing else. And what has been done by the property owners, and most of the property still remains with the original families. So my concern is, if it were a single family home, it would be an enhancement to the community. And to look forward to where Brother Doyle is and all that surrounding, if you're not gonna build up, where's the water going? His place is gonna end up being flooded out if it's not some kind of protection for his area. So it's no concern whatsoever with what the residents want. There was no meeting with the community. The builders could have come in and at least talked. And most of the property is, that property at 902 was sold, yes. Been owned by the Busbys all their lives. But the property where Mr. Doyle is talking about, that property, of course, went for taxes. So we understand, but it's just being sold for money, the progress. Nothing is being discussed with the community. And not that we can't look forward to progress. You have to.
Ma'am, your time is
Eventually, I'm not
elapsed.
gonna be there. So I'm gonna look what happened to my property. So we ask you to consider that, please, sir. You're welcome.
All right, so seeing as we have no further public comment. Folks, you have to sign up to, okay. And folks, please keep in mind, comments related to the item on the agenda. I'm gonna ask now one more time. If anybody else wants. We're doing public comments, so if you want to speak on either of the items, you have to sign in.
I'm Alfreda Sotomayor. I live over in Flowertown subdivision, but I do have property over in Brownsville area. It's very saddening that all these decisions can be made and no one knocks on your door and say anything to you what they're getting ready to do in your area. I grew up there with all these people. I know all of them. They know my father. I was here a couple of years ago fighting for what I inherited, that a piece of a trailer could be put on because you wasn't going to allow any trailers to come back up there. All these decisions are being made by someone else. You sit on this roster and you don't have to worry because you go home. You don't know who's moving up there in that area.
I have grandkids that live up there. I'm scared for my grandkids because when you build 4 places for somebody to live, you don't know who's moving there. You don't know how many children they're going to move there because they can come in and start doing worse than what the area is now. There's some cleanup can be done up there. We're worried about our drainage. We're worried about our children. We're worried about our taxes. When you build something here, that means your water bill is going to go up. Your taxes is going to go up. Guess what? The electric is going to go up. Not yours, because you don't live over there. Our income, most of our income are either disability or retired. We don't have the money to keep on paying and paying and paying. And I'm sure your pockets get hit too, but not as much as ours. Have you ever had to go in the store and say, well, I'll buy what I need, not what I want? That's not a good feeling. I lived that life for a while now, since I got disabled. My property I have up there, I know the taxes are going to go up. I know I'm going to have to soon start trying to find a job to do that I can sit down to continue to pay the taxes that my parents left me and the property I'm living on now.
Ma'am, your time has elapsed.
Help us. We need you all to work for us now.
All right, Ms. Sandlin. Oh, Sands, I'm sorry. Of 114 Pine Grove Avenue to speak regarding 202 East Carolina.
Hi, I'm Donna Sands. I think some of you may know me. I live next door to the property in question. I also live across the street from 117 Pine Grove Avenue. Previously, 202 was occupied by Miss Lila Cawthon, and previously the other one was occupied by Doc McGillis. Anyway, our neighborhood has gone from being a very quiet residential property to now across the street from me, I see on average 3, 5, sometimes 7 cars. They've destroyed that front lawn by driving over it and parking on it. This is supposed to be residential, not commercial. You're supposed to live in the property if you're running a business out of it, and you're not supposed to have any employees. Well, guess what? They have employees and they're not living there. We don't want that to happen next door. We want it to remain residential. We want it to be single family homes. That's where we have been for 30 years. We have seen a lot of change, a lot of traffic. We do not want our neighborhood to be commercial, period. Thank you.
Excuse me. All right, Mr. Chairman, if you want to go ahead with the agenda as proposed with the minutes from the August meeting.
I'd like to hear from the people who are requesting this variance.
We're doing the minutes for the previous meeting first.
Pardon?
The minutes.
Oh, okay. All right, approving of minutes, have a motion.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay. Approve.
All right. So we will move on to the first item of business. I will briefly go over the staff report. I would ask that the applicant go ahead and step up to the podium because you will present your request after I have gone through the staff report. So this variance request is for TMS number 13014040020, owned by AJ Construction and Remodeling LLC. So this variance request is to reduce a setback requirement, which is the rear setback of 20 feet to 14 feet, ordinance section UDO 2.5.3D. This property is zoned neighborhood residential. The properties surrounding it are also neighborhood residential. Neighborhood residential has a standard rear setback of 20 feet. As per usual, the state mandated criteria for a variance request is on the staff report for your review. A little bit of background information on this. The need for a variance was determined by staff through review of the technical review committee. Almost half of the property fronting the corner of Duncan Lane and West 2nd North Street is within the 1% annual chance flood hazard zone, leaving the back half of the property as the primary area for development. For the developer to be able to build outside of the flood hazard zone, they would need to be granted a variance for the rear 20-foot setback. Here is the property in question. This shows the floodplain. Again, they are asking to reduce the setback on this property line from 20 feet to 14 feet. And I will let the applicant go over their request with you. We'll land on a site plan if that's on this one.
Good evening. My name is Joe Hardman. I'm representing the company, AJ Construction. As the presentation said and has in the report, this is in our zoning that allows townhomes and is mixed with single families as well. Because our fronting is like for the Duncan Lane, we need to go way back farther, so can be being out of the flood zone to don't build on the flood zone to be more safer. And because of that, we'll make kind of a really narrow area to build. So that's why we're requesting the reduce from 20 to 14. Our property is a unique property in the area that the properties around, they don't have the same thing. They don't have like the flood zone going through the middle of them. And giving this approval for us, you're not gonna change the properties around because like I said, this is a unique. This was determined by the technical review commission when we did the meeting. And we saw that like the land meet all the criteria to request for this variance. So that's why we are asking.
Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. So the way this building is designed, the unit on the right, that's the deepest unit to the back of the property.
Exactly. It's the only
So the unit that's deep, that's the unit that violates the 20 feet. The other units, back of the units do not.
We're not gonna violate. Yeah, that's correct.
So basically, if the variance is granted to allow, the setback to be reduced to 14 feet, it will be applied to all this. They won't have different setbacks. They will have to meet that 14-foot rear setback.
But the one that's set back deepest, the one on the right here,
Right here.
that's the one that encroaches the 20 feet. The other three don't.
Correct, and that may change based on plan review comments when going through permitting, but ultimately, yes, that at this time, the plan shows that that will be the closest unit.
So if you only had 3 units and that one was gone, we wouldn't even be here, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
Good.
Any other questions?
It appears from that drawing that the edge of the closest townhouse will be like 10 feet from the road.
From the 2nd North Street, because that is my side setback. My front setbacks from Duncan Lane.
So that's the property line. And then there's some right of way there. And then this center line, this is the center line of the street. So yes, this is considered the side, this is considered the front, side, and rear.
Mr. Chair, I don't have any question, but just comments is, I actually my residence is close to this address, so I'm well aware of some of the concerns today, and I'm aware of the impact of some of the stuff going on, and drainage is an issue in this area, and it actually impacts the area further down along than just what this shows. But I also place a lot of value in listening to the community and what their input is, and so I think we have to seriously consider the impact to the residents as well and what this may do to property lines, and that flood zone intrudes on that property quite a bit. So I don't see this as a favorable situation in my opinion, but I'll wait for the vote to be called.
Have you considered just 3 units?
Yeah,
So you wouldn't violate the 20 feet?
like we can do the 3 units and don't violate, or we can just move the right unit to front and go a little bit on the flood zone, but then I'll be going building in a flood zone, and this is not good. I don't want to mess with the flood zone area.
It certainly sounds like drainage is an issue there in the area. And having, there's gonna be, whatever happens here, whatever development happens here, there's gonna be rules about how much impervious surface is built, but whatever impervious surface built, it's gonna cause drainage problems or exaggerate current drainage problems. Is there any thought given to?
Like I said, we had the technical review committee, and this site plan was approved in the technical, was just not approved because the encroachment. So the drainage was C on this review, the water was C.
Sir, the TRC is not an approval. So you will, this just to clarify, so everyone understands.
Yeah.
At TRC, the engineering department reviews a preliminary site plan just to give the applicant direction on what they will need to do based on conceptual drawings. Once he goes through the permitting process, the engineering department will be reviewing their civil plans to make sure that they meet all drainage requirements for the town. But that occurs during permitting.
One-story building?
2. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion.
Go ahead.
I oppose the proposal. So I make a motion to oppose.
Make a motion to reject.
Reject, excuse me. Make a motion to reject.
Second,
I second that. I reject.
any further discussion? Okay. All in favor?
Hold on. Dennis, let me say something. It's certainly, one of our requirements is to approve here. We have to agree that there's no detriment to the community, and I'm certainly hearing evidence of detriment to the community.
Agree.
In favor, raise your right hand.
In favor of the motion.
Favor of his fair request.
Favor of the motion.
No, in favor of the motion to reject.
To reject.
Reject.
Raise your right hand.
Reject.
Okay, thank you.
All right, moving on to our second item under new business. This is, and I apologize, this should read special exception request. This is a special exception request for TMS number 145-02-11-001, 202 East Carolina Avenue, owned by the Executive Group LLC. This special exception request is to allow educational campus use on a property that is zoned GR2. To clarify, the request is only for 2 years, which staff's understanding is that the property will be leased for 2 years for this use. So as the Board of Zoning Appeals, for any special exception, you can grant the special exception with conditional criteria. And one of those, if you were to grant this request, that staff would suggest that you grant it with the condition that it is limited to 2 years as requested, the length of the lease. Again, here in the ordinance, GR2 only permits, and GR2 is general residential. The surrounding properties are all GR2. There is one that is partially surrounding the property that is neighborhood business. But GR2 only permits business use if it is being rented for residential use, meaning short-term or long-term rentals, or if the business is a home occupation with no employees and no outward appearance of being a business, i.e. Someone who does bookkeeping at home, or they are a lawyer and their office is in their home and they see their clients outside of the home, are just some examples of our home occupation license. So the background on this, the need for the special exception was determined by staff through review of the property leaser's request to conduct a micro school business and institutional use not permitted within GR2 zoning within a residential property. The property owner has indicated that the use would only be in place with her permission for 2 years. And as I mentioned before, if the board does choose to approve this special exception request, staff would recommend that they approve it with conditions that it only is within that 2-year window. If the use is discontinued for a period of 90 days, that time period cannot be extended. Additionally, the condition should include that the special exception is limited to the applicant of record, Ms. Murray, and cannot be transferred to a different tenant. That is it for my staff report. Here is the property, and I will let Ms. Murray give you her special exception request.
Hi, I'm Alex. Nice to meet you all. I'm a little bit nervous, so sorry if my voice is shaky. I am the founder of Murray Meadow Academy, which is a micro school. And a micro school is something that's kind of newer in a newer generation. It is just a very small scale school. So we have classes of 10 kids and 1 instructor. It's very like hands-on. So the kids are getting, more one-on-one time. It's great for the kiddos. I came up with this wild idea to open a school because I have a 5-year-old daughter who's going into kindergarten next year. And I want her to have the best educational experience possible. So I am opening this micro school, and I found this beautiful location. It is, downtown Somerville, which is amazing for Nexton area, downtown area, just kind of a central area for all families. And one awesome thing about it is it is surrounded, you can see up there, it's surrounded by trees. So the whole entire property has a tree line surrounding it. So it's very private as well, which is important for a lot of families who are kind of sending their kids to something like this. I have the criteria, the specific criteria, which I can definitely read. I think it was included in there, but do you guys want me to go through it? I should. Okay. I'll just bullet point some of it because I think talking about it is really important. So as I mentioned, it's a micro school, so very, very small. It's similar to a homeschool co-op. So it's gonna have very limited traffic. It will not affect surrounding communities or surrounding homes. Activity is quiet. there's not really any commercial elements like a school. It's so like an educational campus, you know, there's not going to be bells ringing. There's not going to be large signs. There won't be lines of parents waiting to pick up their kids because again, we are really small. There's not going to be any structural modifications. One reason I really love this property is because it's very homey, which I want my school to be. So it's looks like a home. It feels like a home. It's comfortable for the kids. Let's see, parking. There's parking on site. So the driveway's really big. There's this little side yard. That's great too. So parking, you won't even really be able to see the cars from Pine Grove or East Carolina, again, because there's so many trees surrounding it. So that's a really great perk. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all I got. Do you guys have any questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have 10 kids
Yes.
and you're
Oh,
the one and only teacher?
No, so I'm the founder. I'm actually not a teacher. I'm a psychiatric nurse practitioner. So I am just kind of the person who had the idea. So I'm the owner of the school essentially. I have a teacher who's leaving leaving elementary school to come teach.
So there's only one teacher?
Yes.
Okay, so that's one car.
Yes. And my car will be there sometimes also. And then just to be transparent, if we have special things we're doing, a parent's or a kid's parent's car may be there as well.
What about recreation to the kids? Are they gonna be outside playing?
Yeah, so there will be at this location, there's like a beautiful front yard and backyard. So we do want, you know, a small playground-ish area. I also want the kids to be able to grow a garden. So we're going to have little areas for that. But again, I think a really important thing with this that is benefiting me and the neighbors is that the tree line is surrounding it.
Is there a fence on this property?
It is fully fenced too. It's a wire fence. So not like sound barrier proof or anything, but safety for the kids is also why I love it. Yeah.
Okay.
So pre-K and K through 5. So it's going to be broken up into pods because it's such a small class size. There will be groups of 3 probably, or 4 maybe, depending on the enrollments. But so we'll have like kindergartners and then first graders, second graders, that kind of thing.
But you said there's only one teacher. You've got different grade levels and stuff.
Yeah, so it's a pod system, which our teacher is familiar with doing. So it's almost because it's such a hands-on criteria and academic, you know, the kids are in different academic, I guess.
How are you going to have 10 kids picked up at the same time without having any traffic through there?
So we're going to do staggered pickups. If this is approved, we're going to do like 15-minute increments to prevent that.
Any other question? Why that time frame for?
What was that? I'm so sorry. What was the question? Oh, 2 years. That is more of a financial decision, I would say. Negotiation with a property owner, signing a 2-year lease was at a lower rate. Also, I think and hope that we grow, and whenever we grow bigger than, 10 kiddos, then we'll need more space.
And this property is on residential only, correct?
Yes, sir.
So the issue here is we wouldn't be talking about a variance if she was going to live there.
So the special exception request it has nothing to do with her living there.
Okay.
The reason I mentioned the home occupation is that's what she originally applied for is a business license, which would have been a home occupation, which is an educational campus is not permitted under that type of permit. So the only way for her to have this use on the property is to get a special exception granted for educational use on a general residential property.
And beyond the zoning request, is there somebody somewhere that's gonna pass judgment on whether this is an appropriate?
So before we would, my mic is going in and I apologize. Before we would approve, we meaning myself and the fire. Just gonna turn this. Birthday, you know, they're required to send that, you know, their emergency students to track that. Any sort of condition they don't pass down would be enforced by the cleaning staff. Via their business license, and if they were to violate this or any other conditions of their license.
This is probably beyond our purview, but just a question, does this have to be licensed by the state?
Yes. Yes. So we are licensed as a micro school through the state of South Carolina.
Mr. Chair, I truly support education, love all about it. The conflict I'm having, and I appreciate your mission, but I'm just concerned we're setting a bad precedent if we accept this just the way it's zoned for residential and allowing something like this to move in, granted, very minimal staff and attendance. I'm just afraid it opens up a doorway for more exceptions that are not going to seem fair and hypocritical. So I have a conflict in that regard. Go ahead.
What is the business? What is the business across the street that our speaker referred to?
I'll verify that, and I to verify that. So that property, they were approved for a home occupation license to have one-on-one appointments with the homeowner, and they ended up not following those requirements. Our code enforcement notified their business license and the property. In many situations with home occupation that may happen, but that's why we have to look for the enforcement officer to investigate those issues.
Becca, I guess a question. If we approve this, does that give them the ability to put a sign up too?
So
Okay.
we would basically go by the regulations most closely to the zone. Ordinarily, they would be allowed to put in the same type of signage or home occupation. Residential property would be, so it's just a very small, I think it's actually can be more than like 4 square feet. Sign either on the building or it can be at on their property, and it has to be.
I'm totally okay with not putting this in.
Becca, do you have beyond the, you suggested, staff suggested some requirements as to 90-day or, you know, timing requirements. Would you have, you mentioned a few moments ago, other requirements that we might put on them? Do you have some suggestions?
I do, would say that, before I offer this, that, we have one code enforcement officer dedicated to planning. He
conditions could look anything like operating hours, number of cars on the property at one time. You know, they need to be verifiable things that if they aren't followed, that we need to follow up on them. And I think the conditions should relate directly to the impact on neighboring properties. That being said, it is part of request of this nature. It is a property right on the edge of residential area. So typically something like this might require a traffic impact analysis, but it's very small micro use, so that the but in my mind, conditions that directly
Okay, having heard Becca, what operating hours are you proposing?
8:30 to 2:30, Monday through Thursday. So that will be when the one class is going, and then Fridays we're offering tutoring, and that's optional, obviously, for kiddos, and that'll be the same time frame. So 8:30 to 2:30.
Any other questions?
Oh, you want to make a statement? Go ahead.
I did want to quickly mention, also, you know, if during the hours, and if you're going to be doing it year round, it's going to be dark out. So just keep in mind that we do have lighting requirements. So if you were to install any sort of lighting, it would have to meet our foot candle.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, we don't plan on being there after dark. The cutoff time's 2:30, so.
in the morning,
But yeah. Oh, true. 8:30, yeah. Okay.
Hi, my name is Michelle Sonor. I'm the owner of the property. And when Alex first came to me to talk about a micro school, I thought, oh my gosh, that'll never be allowed. But then the more she talked about exactly what she was hoping to achieve, and the more I look at the property, it is such a small home with an office, a separate office attached, which would be ideal for students also. And it is surrounded by greenery. I fell in love with the property because it is got camellias and azaleas and everything all over. You can't see the house from any side of the road, from any other home. You can't see this house because and it would be a great place for children to be able to play and have that area. And I completely sympathize with the problems that you had with a commercial use. And I think this is a little different because I really think that one of the great things about Somerville is the residential area around here. Kids can walk to the elementary school that's down the road. You can walk to a church, you can walk to, and this little path, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a long path from the front of the house to a gate that then, you know, you can walk to downtown. And right now it's not ideal because with Berlin G. Myers that's been built there and things, it's not a place you'd want to really walk. But I imagine in years past, it was a great place to walk and to do things like that. And I think the school would kind of go along with the residential feel and keep it from, even though it's on the edge of what is becoming more commercial, I think this use of it is not in that same vein at all. And I think if you could see the property and see how private it is, I can understand how upsetting it would be to see lots of cars having ruined, you know, the front yard of another property nearby. But that wouldn't be the case here because where you come from Pine Grove Avenue, there's actually a double gate to get onto the property. But then there's gravel and parking that wouldn't you wouldn't be parking on grass anywhere. There's parking now for probably 6 cars without, you still wouldn't even be able to see it. So it's really kind of, and I understand that you wouldn't want to open it up to other uses this way, but I think that's why it's a special exception, because you can look at each property and decide if it would bother the neighbors or would disturb the look of the community. And I think in this case, you wouldn't be opening the door for anyone else to do it, because this is a special property that I love the idea of that, the property being used for that. I think it would do the opposite of what the last business that was down the road did. I don't think it would cause, the yard to be messed up or anything like that. It would be just as if we had a residential person there. And now I rent it as I wouldn't say short term, but it's monthly rentals. And it's a lot of people that are coming to look at the area to consider living here. And they're usually here for a month or two. And because it's furnished, and they have dogs and but I don't think I've never had anyone say that anyone's disturbed the peace or anything like that, because it's such a private home. And I think it would be a great use for this property. And I've agreed to reduce the rent from what I request for the residential rent, just because I think it would be a really nice use.
Am I allowed to piggyback? Am I allowed to add more? Okay, I just wanted to also say that I live in the community, just a couple minutes away from this, and I am very much approachable. I want the whole community to be happy. I'm happy to make any adjustments if any neighbors come to us and they're like, we have a problem with this. I want everyone to be happy. Yes. I did. I tried to knock on people's doors and I left letters in mailboxes. I really do want everyone to be happy with this. I want our teachers to be happy. I want the kids to be happy. I want the neighbors to be happy. I just, yes, I wanted to say that too. After the 2 years, I think that we're going to have more students than this property will be able to let us have. So we'll have to move on to something bigger, sadly.
But then you'd have to come before.
Well, then I'd probably have a commercial property, maybe, if I can afford it.
She's saying she would relocate at that point.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yes, I would find a different location.
You have your motion?
I want motion that we reject. I think we're opening a can of worms here. This residential area, and I honestly believe we need to keep it as a residential area.
I really do support your mission and I respect what you're trying to do. Champion of education, but from a zoning and policy perspective, I have to concur, and I believe that it would open up Pandora's box for more exceptions down the road and would put us in a bad spot. So I'm going to second the motion.
You seconded it?
Mm-hmm.
Any other comment? The motion is
To reject the proposal.
reject. Okay. Vote in favor, rejecting it, right hand. Please. Opposed?
Thank you, guys.
All right, folks, we will be doing elections at our next meeting, whenever that may be. But other than that, I don't have any, miscellaneous business for y'all. So unless you have any questions or need to bring something up for public record, we can get a motion and a second to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Thank you, folks. Mike's off.